Textor over the years has formed a strong relationship with those guys, but there's no guarantee that a new buyer is going to feel as comfortable with that new set of with those existing holders. I also think there's a probability that there are rights in the shareholder agreement between Textor and the existing holders that allow the existing holders to purchase or match the price that he's offered from a third party. And they'll also have a timescale in which they can do that. So we'll have to wait and see. There's quite a lot of wrinkles with that deal. And then on the flip side, there are also two other aspects that are of interest, but really we've got very limited information at the moment. One of them is just how wealthy Textor is independently, and therefore where he gets his resources from to be able to do the deal. And the second one is, how does he actually execute the deal, even if he doesn't have Crystal Palace shares? So what price is he paying? What is he doing with the debt? Does he have the resources to refinance the bits that will need to be refinanced in due course? Does he have the money to supply the club with working capital? How long does the deal take? He's talked in some of these pieces that have been reported this week about being able to bridge the situation to January. But that does then imply that they do have some cash issues in the run-up to January. So I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns with the deal. It's still unclear to me why he needed to be given exclusivity at this stage by Everton. And that would infer, I think, that there was limited other interest in doing that deal. But, we're trying to piece it together based on one or two articles in the press, and most of those articles have been described by Textor himself in a statement this morning as being inaccurate. So we need to be cautious in terms of the analysis, but there are clearly a lot of challenges with the Textor deal, and I don't think that's controversial.
So one of those things he might have been referencing was an article. It was kind of tough to translate, really, about the links to Russian oligarchs. If those things are true that were included in that article, would that be concerning all the club and the fans, given the history with, Russian oligarchs and how they are currently looked upon in the UK?
Yeah, so the article that we're talking about was in Brazil. Textor owns one of the clubs in Brazil, Botafogo, I think it is. I may well have pronounced that wrongly, but as I understand it, the person that wrote that article is a serious investigative journalist, and so it's not it is worth reading for Everton fans. It's a 3-part series. As you say, it is quite hard to translate the precise allegations, but clearly it suggests that Textor is not is involved with wealthy Russians, let's say, and if all of that is true, then of course it will give rise to issues around owners and directors tests, because we know from the 777 situation that the Premier League will be quite thorough in terms of their questioning of the potential owner of Everton, and will set certain parameters and conditions in terms of its approval. And that may well require John Textor to answer some difficult questions to the Premier League, in the way that difficult questions have been asked previously to people like 777, who ultimately could not get round the conditions that were put in place. So, I think all of this is more of the challenge that John Textor is going to have in buying Everton. He clearly wants to do it. I mean, the statement that he's made this morning, Friday, the statement that he's made this morning makes it clear that he's very keen to buy the club. but there are significant challenges to doing that.